back to the Natalie and
Dennis
show
podcast.
You guys, welcome back to your favorite fucking podcast.
The number one podcast in the world. You know what's good?
Can I tell you something? I always cringe when people say that.
What?
Like, I get it that you might be somebody's favorite podcast, but it's also so uncomfy for me to hear that. I was just kidding, just so you know. I know we're probably not your favorite podcast.
We are definitely some weird
think?
person out there. Or that one comfort food that they have.
It. No, it's going to be nice. Comparing us to comfort food. No, honestly, can you imagine being someone's favorite podcast? That means a lot.
Am I your favorite person in the world?
Honey, what does that have to do with this question?
Well, it's like favorites. You pick one thing that's like your favorite.
No, you're not my favorite. I love you, but you're not my favorite.
Who's your favorite person?
My mother. All right, you guys, welcome back to the podcast. Today, we're actually diving into
school,
college. Yeah. And
higher education,
the pressures, the expectations, the costs, the benefits. Do we even regret it? What did we go to school for? And much more.
What's the point?
So let's dive in.
So this concept, I picked it a couple days ago because Debbie has a friend at the gym that is about to go to, community college. And he's in community college right now too. And I was like, wow, there's no real stepping stone from high school to college. You're just kind of like thrown in there.
Can you tell me how many years has it been since you've been in college?
I graduated in 2017, so it's been 6 years. And then I graduated high school in 2010, so that's been 13 years.
That's insane. Isn't it? That
long
face.
time.
He's like, shit, he's
That's
old.
crazy.
I know. When I think about that, and I think more about high school, and it's like, my 10-year reunion was like 12 years.
No one talks about 10-year reunion.
I know, but wasn't that like a thing? Like,
it's only alive because of Facebook.
Oh, I didn't get to go to mine, but I had kind of like hoped and wished and just, I don't know, whatever. Anyways, so why don't we start off with what did we go to college for?
I think we can go even farther back. Like, what was the purpose and the reason as to why we went to college? I feel like it's a lot of pressure from parents.
Okay, but what did you go to college for? Some people don't know.
Oh, okay.
Likewise.
My bad.
Yeah.
Okay, so I went for biomedical science and biotechnology.
Yes, I went for business.
Visity.
I went for business and marketing. Okay, that's what I did with professional selling. And so yeah, taking it back to like the pressures, right? We were discussing before the episode how we kind of just assumed that's the way life was going to go. It was going to go from high school to college, and that was like we didn't even think about it. Right?
Well, you're kind of forced from to go from elementary to middle to high. It's like the law. If you don't go, you're actually go to jail, or your parents will, right?
Oh shit! Yeah.
So it kind of feels like college is the very obvious next step.
I always remember being in my senior class, and it was the first time somebody said, literally my teacher, he was like, hey, you don't actually have to go to college. And I was like, wait, that's like an option? Like, I didn't even see it as a thing.
Yeah.
So, I mean, do you regret going to college?
I don't regret it. I do feel like there's so many things I would do different, which we're probably going to touch on in this actual podcast. The thing is, like, you're kind of swept into it. You're told to do your ACT, SAT, and you're kind of caught up in like this whole pick your college and send applications and all these things. And like everybody's doing it. So you're kind of pressured into doing it as well. It's not like you take a moment to say, hey, like, is this really what I want to do?
Guys, I did so bad in my ACTs. Like,
yes.
So bad. I really, for a second there, I let it define me. Like for a second, because Dennis, on the other hand, did so well and got such a good number. And I remember when I gave him my score, you know what you told me, handsome? It's pretty messed up.
Oh shit! What did I say? What did you get on the ACT? I can't remember.
No.
Was it a sub 20?
No, it was so bad. I don't remember.
I think it was pretty bad. Yeah.
The point is, you were like, Natalie, you could have written your name and done better.
I did not say that.
You said that to me.
No way.
You said that to me.
I mean, on the SAT, if you write your name down, you get points.
Anyways, so apparently I did so bad, and I was like, am I stupid? And like, am I just gonna fail in life? Like, no one's gonna accept me into college, even though I had a very good GPA. I also had proven to do a lot of extracurricular activities. I was very involved. I was like vice president for a bunch of stuff, leadership skills and all of that. But my fucking scores were terrible.
I was the opposite. Now that I think about it, I had no extracurriculars. I had a good GPA and I had a really good ACT, SAT score.
Well, luckily, I did end up going to my local community college. I went to Valencia College, and then I transferred over to UCF to continue my studies. And my college experience was kind of interesting because I actually didn't finish college. I don't know if you guys know this about me.
Dropout.
College dropout. So this was my last semester of college, actually. And I got really involved with YouTube. And I remember I told my parents, I was like, hey guys, I want to quit school. And
How'd they feel about it?
They were like, absolutely not. Why? I was like, I just bought this really cool camera. It's $300 and I want to film videos online. And both my parents were like, return it. They were not supportive at all.
Really?
Yeah, I was so heartbroken. And you went with me to go get this camera.
Yeah.
And they were like, no, you have to go to school. Like, first, like my parents are immigrants. I'm the first generation college kid. That was always the plan. How are you just dropping out of school to start a YouTube channel? Like it didn't make sense, right? I told them, I said, okay, guys, I'm going to work really hard this semester. Really hard. And let's negotiate.
On YouTube.
Yeah, I'm going to work really hard on YouTube. Fuck school. I was like, I'm going to negotiate with you. If I reach 1 million subscribers, granted, I had 0. If I reach 1 million subscribers after the semester, can I drop out of school? And they were like, all right, fine. And so I did school and I did YouTube at night. Literally, my schedule was like, I'd go to school from whatever hours. I was pretty flexible because I didn't have a job at the time. Or maybe I did. I was working at Valencia.
You're working there. You're a student leader.
And I hated school. All I did in school was think about ideas. And I love the aspect of business and marketing and reading. Like I always love learning, but I hated being taught specific things, like
about it.
I didn't love math. I hated accounting, all the things that you need for like business, right? But I loved all the other stuff. So I struggled a lot, especially in math classes. You know that. Like I'd go over to my cousin's house crying. She's a freaking accountant. I'm like, help me pass this class. Like it was that bad. Anyways, but long story short, I ended up getting to 1 million subscribers after that semester and proving myself. And I was able to pursue it. So that's why I didn't actually finish school.
For me, it was really different. It was, so I didn't go to community college. I went straight to university. And the first day of class was the first day I showed up. Like I honestly did not care too much. I wasn't too worried about it.
What do you mean? You hadn't gone on like a tour?
Like no tour. You go to like your what do you call it? Thing where you go pick classes and stuff. It was super chill. I didn't pay too much attention. I went with my friend, your cousin Juan. And then the first day of school, like I took out this map. I didn't know where any of the classes were. By that point, people who were dorming there already had like an idea of everything, of like where things are. I had no idea where anything was. Showed up to the classes and it's huge 600 student classes.
They're big.
500, 600 students. And you're like late. So I'm like in the back, like way back in their room, barely have it. Like some people had to stand, like there were no chairs.
So Dennis went to UCF, which is the second largest university in
the nation.
So it's a very big school, very big classes. I mean, you can get so lost.
It's packed. Yeah. Right. And this is like around the time where online classes weren't very like a thing.
That's true.
Yeah. So like everything was in person. Like online was there, but it wasn't like the premier way of doing things. It's always like in class stuff. Right. And I don't know. I just kind of coasted through gen eds. It was super simple. I didn't take it too serious. It was like B's and A's, C's. And I don't know. I never really had like a defined thing right away. I knew I wanted to be an anesthesiologist. So I did biomed.
How did you just know though? That's the thing that like people would ask me, what do you want to do? And I was like, nothing that's out there really.
I think as a kid, you gravitate towards lawyer or doctor. And then you have that random friend that wants to be either a cop or a firefighter. It's like, that's always like a thing.
I had neither of those desires. And I just, at the time, this was 10 years ago, right? YouTube was definitely a more defined route. Like there were people who were YouTubers like Michelle Phan and like Dulce Candy who had already made like careers out of this. But I wasn't sure how I was even going to make it happen. So for me, telling my parents that, you know, I remember my first brand deal. That's kind of how I remember that they first started to believe in me. I went up to them and I was like, you guys, like this was after I hit 1 million. I was like, I just got my first brand deal. And they were like, what is that? And I was like, I'm going to get paid to promote this product. It was the Lumia. It was these brush removers.
Wasn't it the Lumia?
Something like that.
Yeah. It was a brush cleaner.
It was a brush cleaner. And it was perfect because I was doing Beauty Busters at the time. I was testing it out. And I was like, they're going to pay me $5,000. $5,000.
Yeah.
Holy shit. It was wild, right? And so they were like, all of a sudden, they're like, what is Natalie doing? My mom was now telling all her friends, ay, mija, hace videos.
Then she got proud. Yeah. Then she got happy.
Like, suscríbase al canal de ella. And I'm like, okay, this bitch didn't believe me. No, but I appreciate it. Oh my God, I've never called my mom a bitch. That's what just happened here? I'm sorry. I love my mom. I would never do that. Anyways. And then I remember once I got a manager.
Okay, but you're going like the YouTube route.
But it's so fun.
Let's stick to college.
No, because this is why I was.
How was your college life affected during your work? Because you were starting to get successful.
Yeah.
Right. How were your grades? What was it like? Because I know you need tutoring. How would tutoring interfere with creating videos? I want to know that.
Okay, well, obviously I was going to lean into like parental and society expectations.
Okay.
But with that, I was really struggling with like just freaking focusing in class. I was so bored out of my mind. I hated economy class. Like I just didn't like my classes, you know? So I don't know how I did it.
Do you think you picked the wrong major?
No, I love business. I love the element of marketing and like trying to persuade people and like all of that stuff, but I didn't like the economics of it, like the math.
So do you think there was any other major? So you're saying that you picked the right major?
I picked the right major.
It's just school might not be for you.
No, none of that. I picked the right major, but if I were to actually pursue marketing, I would never be the accountant of the marketing thing. I would be doing the creative stuff. But unfortunately, when you're in school, you have to do all of it, you know?
Yeah.
So I was forced to do
that.
For
the degree.
Correct. Yeah. So where were we going with that, though?
So I was asking you how school was getting in the way of YouTube and how YouTube was getting in the way of school. Like, how did they interact with each other?
So YouTube I would do at night, like literally all night. Those were my creative hours. So from like 10 at night till like 3 a.m, I was doing YouTube. I was editing, I was filming and doing all that stuff, right? So negotiating with brands.
Natalie at that time was posting about 3 videos per week.
That's insane. I can't believe it. I was so focused.
Yeah. It was 3 videos per week and you were editing, posting, promoting, creating thumbnails, negotiating,
emailing people,
and school.
I was doing everything and I was thriving. Like,
but you didn't fail any classes either, so you actually maintained.
Yeah, no, I maintained, of course.
So you maintained.
Yeah.
Everything.
Yeah, it wasn't difficult to do that. I'm just saying I've always struggled at math, so it was difficult for me, right? But can I go back to that brand deal?
Sure, go ahead.
Because it's just like it's a moment for me, right? Yeah. After I got that one brand deal, right? I remember I went to my parents after I got my first manager, and I was like, "Oh my God, you're not gonna believe this. This is a big brand deal. Like I just got another brand deal." And they were like, "Tell us more." And I was like, "Guess how much they're going to pay me for this?" Okay. And my mom was like, "How much? 2,000? Tell me."
Say, but ellos que dijeron cuando eso?
Yeah. They were shocked. They were like, how much? Like 2,000. I was like, no. And they were like 5,000. Like the last one. I was like, no. They were like 10,000. I was like, no. They were like, what? And then I was like, keep going. And they're like 20. I was like, no. They were like 30. I was like, no. They were like 40. I was like, no. They were like 50. I was like, no. $60,000.
It was like, no way.
I mean,
what brand was that? I can't remember.
We can't really.
Okay, we can't disclose.
Yeah. But I mean, I was freaking shaking in my boots when I got that email. I was like, $60,000. Like, this is what somebody will make in a year for working in marketing. I'm a student and I'm getting this brand deal.
Yeah.
Like it brought, it was.
Were you still in Valencia? So you were still in the community college or were you already in the university?
I was at UCF now.
Okay.
Yeah. Yeah. So I was in UCF, and I remember I was in this professional selling program, which was really difficult to like get into.
Yeah.
And the teacher, part of that professional selling program, you got to be a part of being mentored by Fortune 500 companies, right? So I was being mentored by Sprint, which I think are they dead now?
They don't exist anymore.
Well, anyways, I was being mentored by
Are
Sprint.
they dead?
And I remember I had to fill out this form, and it was like, how much money do you want to earn? Right? Then how much money are you currently earning? And I remember I put like the amount that I was earning at the time.
6 figures.
Yeah.
Yeah.
A fucking student. I was shocked.
Yeah,
right?
yeah.
And I remember my teacher came up to me after class, and he was like, Natalie, like, I just want to double check this. And I was like, yeah, it's like that. And he was like, that's wow, like, you know, like you're killing it, blah, blah, blah. And then I started getting more opportunities within school because now the business school was talking about me. And now they wanted to present me as the Natalie's Outlet.
The poster child of UCF.
Yeah. They're like, Natalie's Outlet, she goes here and she has a YouTube channel with like 1 million subscribers.
We have
blah, blah, blah.
we have a trophy downstairs in our living room.
Well, that's another one. Well, here's the interesting thing about that trophy. I was the alumni of the year for UCF in 2019.
In the business
business school.
Yeah.
Right? I didn't fucking graduate. How the fuck did I get that?
Yeah.
That's how like they
networking and getting in there,
right.
you know?
So I think we should get into that. Like for me, I don't regret college. I love my experience. It taught me a lot, for real. Like it taught me how to present myself. It taught me my elevator pitch. It taught me how to like market me. Yeah. And it taught me about deadlines and like everything that you need, like being responsible. Right. But then
I think it also taught you how to hustle.
Oh, a lot. Because it taught me that at the end of the day, if you get that paper, you're not guaranteed a job and you're not guaranteed that anything. And that's scary. That's really scary.
I don't want this episode to be concerning to you guys who are about to go to college because it's not the thing.
Oh, no. If anything, I hope it's kind of inspiring because I was so lost. I didn't know what I wanted to do, but I knew what the vision was for my life. Yeah. You know, like I knew I was like, maybe I could make this work. And I believed in myself and I worked really hard, even though nobody believed in me, you know? And so there is, I don't know, because I just want to mention that because you're right. Yeah. I don't want anybody being like, oh my God, how the fuck am I going to do
discouraged.
That? Yeah. Because I was so discouraged being in school, not knowing, like I would look up to you and I was like, he knows what he wants. He knows how to get there. I don't know what I'm doing here. Like literally, what am I doing here? I'm like writing my economics books. Like I'm miserable. I don't like this. I don't know what I'm doing here.
For me, it was like, so I would go to school all day. It was lab classes. I was doing biomed. So it was like really, really hard, really difficult. Organic chemistry, biochemistry, micro and macro biology, cellular metabolism was so hard.
Oh my God. I don't know how you did it.
And so I actually managed to graduate with a double major, right? I got my stuff. Whoa.
Can we do an applause? Honestly, that is not easy, you guys. Dennis's classes. Yay! Thank you, everybody.
I wish I could have brought my diploma for this episode. I could have put it right there.
That would have been cute. It's at your parents' house, hanging.
It's just hanging. It's getting dust.
Yeah, it's hanging real nice and proud.
But I do have a lot of regrets. There's a lot of stuff that I personally feel like I did wrong in college. I wouldn't spend a lot of time in college just partaking in the environment of school. And I mean, now that we know what we're doing, like it wouldn't have benefited us in any way to like just hung out in college. But I feel like I missed out on a lot of experiences that a lot of people get when they go to college. But I don't know. I wasn't like a hardcore rep my university person.
I wasn't either.
And nor do I feel like that now. And even if I were to go back, I wouldn't be that way, you know? Mm-hmm. But what I think I would have done was definitely made a lot more friends. I feel like I would have wanted to get to know more people, network more, just get in contact with people who open doors and, you know, gatekeeping and all that stuff. And just getting up in like your community.
That's what college is all about, honestly.
I remember when we were about to move to LA, one thing that I told Natalie is like, you know, within Orlando, which is where we live, we should get to know people. There's a lot of important people everywhere.
Yeah.
Don't assume that just because you live in Kansas, that there's nobody in Kansas who's influential. Like even in your local, political people, like there's people making moves everywhere.
Are you saying important as in like these are people that are going to help you in your business?
Yes. No, in everything. Because even if like we talk to people who are unrelated to our current career, where there's so much to learn from others.
There is, yeah,
right?
definitely.
And so
well, that's why I wanted to clarify, because I don't like the title of important people. That's why.
No, people who make moves. That's all I want to say. People who make moves, who are ingrained in the community, who do things. I don't want to, by important, I mean like are active.
I wanted to clarify.
Active,
yeah.
yes.
Cool.
And so, I would go to school. I would only do my classes. I would get good grades. And then that was like primarily my big concern.
Yeah. And I remember you saw the opposite in me, which is, yes, I would try and get the good grades. I would struggle a little bit, but like I would network a lot. I met everyone.
You went to a lot of events.
I would go to a lot of events.
I didn't go to events. I only studied.
Introduce myself. I mean, I freaking met the dean. I was at his house. Like how?
That man is funny. I gotta say that.
Yeah.
That's a funny man.
That's a funny man.
I don't think he's a dean anymore.
Oh, well, the dean at the time. Yeah. So definitely like, I guess a tip that I would have is like, introduce yourself to everyone, get to know everyone, learn from everyone. There's a lot to learn from every single person. And what's crazy too is like people within your own network of alumni, like they can definitely inspire a business move later on. So I know that one of the people that was in my class, he was on Shark Tank. Yeah. And like I learned a lot from him and him selling product, and he was very inspiring to me. So there's a lot to learn.
That's what I'm saying. Like in networking, like were you friends with him? Yeah. So that's cool. So you got to know him. Whereas for me, like I wouldn't take the time to pick at other people's brains. And so it was like,
and I've always been the kind of person where I kind of put myself in uncomfortable situations, but I do it to grow. Right. So I remember I joined the debate team. What the hell was I doing there? I hated every second of it. And I was so nervous the whole time, and they'd give you a topic and I was like, but like it taught me something, and maybe I went like 3 times, but like even that stepping out of my comfort and seeing a new type of people really helped me a lot. Something else that I don't think I've mentioned is I actually first went to school for graphic design. Yeah. And I've hated it.
You actually bought your first computer, your Apple computer, because of graphic design.
And that helped me later on
with YouTube.
With editing my YouTube videos.
Yeah.
Yeah. But I was really bad at that as well. So another thing is you might get into things not knowing.
Todo pasa por algo.
See, everything happens for a reason. It's true. It's true. I remember being in that class, you guys, it was my final for my graphic design class, and I didn't know anything. Like,
how do you get to the final and not learn anything?
Because Bubba, I didn't absorb it. I wasn't good at graphic design, I was good at drawing and conceptualizing and coming up with ideas.
And when you are not interested for something, anything.
Exactly. So I literally,
I can't relate.
I remember my friend next to me, I was going to say he, but it was actually she. She was like trying to help me cheat the class. And I was like, I fucking failed this class. Like for sure. I failed it.
And you failed it?
I probably did, but I didn't end up doing graphic design. That's when I moved into business. Majors. Yeah. So what I'm saying is try a little bit of everything. You really don't know what you're going to end up doing, just pursue what you're curious. I think that's like my biggest advice. If you don't know what to do.
I have a, like a, what do you call it? Like a tip, but I don't want you guys to take it too to heart. Right.
Tell us. Let's see.
So a lot of people go to college to follow and pursue passions. And a lot of people go to find jobs that make a lot of money. And I feel like they're in different spectrums, right? One is like you'll make a lot of money, but you'll not be very happy, right? Like
not always.
But a lot of people follow those because of the money. If you follow it because of the money, you're not going to be very happy.
You're also not going to be very successful. I don't believe you will ever work as hard unless you love what you do, like genuinely.
And then there's people who go into careers like I don't have any specifics, but that don't make a lot of money. And, you might enjoy it, but it's a struggle and it becomes difficult later in life because you're just not making enough money and it's hard to pay shit. Right. So I think it's very important that before you pick a career, you pick a major, you do a lot of research. And yes, you have to look at how much that earns. I feel like it's important because as an adult, as someone who's older now, money is important. I want to throw that out there. It's very important. And I remember when I was younger and I was with you and Angelica, you guys were like, money, who cares, whatever.
Yeah.
Because your parents pay for everything and you don't experience struggles and you don't know what it's like to not have money. But then when you're working, that expensive gallon of milk you got to buy feels expensive. Like everything starts to feel expensive. You have more responsibilities. Your car payments become an issue. Like everything is an issue, right? And so the last thing you want is to work a really tough job and your paycheck is very like wishy-washy. Sometimes you make money, sometimes you don't. Like, you get what I'm trying to say? Like I'm trying to say like research what your job is. Don't be surprised by the money you make. Like
no, for sure.
Understand it.
Yeah, like understand what you're getting into.
Yeah, because it's a lot of time that you're going to put into it, right? Into a degree.
Yeah.
And you know what's really popular right now? Jobs within trades, like electricians, plumbers, people who are needed because that job is always going to be there, right? And so it's skills. Oh, that's what I'm saying. Skills. Like this is a skill. Making this sign that we have here. That guy must do a lot of really unique jobs.
Oh, I thought you meant the graphic design.
Oh, no.
Shout out to Zoe, by the way.
Oh, Zoe, of course. Yeah. That's another skill. They are at the will also of people finding them. They need to market themselves. Yes.
Right? So yeah, definitely skills are important. And I think that's something that, you know.
Yeah.
Guys, do you guys have a talent?
Do we have a talent?
I'm talentless. No, just kidding. Like, what do you mean a talent, David?
Que tienes algún talento.
I have very good memory. But once I don't need it, it leaves my brain forever.
Wow.
And so I think it really helped me in school because my exams were so dense. You know, physiology, anatomy, all that stuff, right? So I would cram. Like, I don't like the word cram. I would study for like a week, 2 weeks. I would do it, and then I'd retain all that knowledge till the end of the semester, and that shit's gone. I don't remember anything about that class. There's so much of biology I don't remember.
Yeah.
But I haven't had to like call upon it in so long. So like.
So you'd say you have good memory.
I have pretty good memory.
That's good. I would say for me, I'm very creative, like just naturally creative. And I think it actually has to do with my ADHD. I'm not going to lie.
Yeah.
Like, I think now I realize what a superpower that's been because my mind can like go everywhere and I will come up with like, I don't know, the craziest, like yesterday we were at lunch with some friends and we were just thinking about ideas and it was like back and forth. And I was like, I almost saw myself from an outside perspective and I was like, damn, this comes so naturally for me. Or like, let's say a brand deal comes in and they want something, right? I'm like, I'll throw like 5 ideas. Like, it's just like natural for me. And I love that I'm able to exercise that every day. So yeah.
That's really cool. Is there anything that you regret from school?
I regret putting so much pressure on myself and stress. I was a very stressed out high school kid, always worried. Like from junior year, when everybody started talking ACTs and SATs, I was always worried about what I was going to do, whether I was going to be successful. I didn't know what I was going to do. So I think it's like, it made me concerned when people would ask me and then they're like, you don't know where you're going to do? Like, I want to be this and this and that. And I was like, no, I don't.
Don't you think it is important to worry a little bit like about what you're going to get into? Or is it just the kind of thought you should think like these things will present themselves to me?
No, I don't think you should be like, oh,
receptive to things.
No, I don't think like you need to work for stuff. You need to have a vision and focus. What I'm saying is the amount of stress I would put on myself was very unhealthy. Like, at the end of the day, it worked out. You know what I mean? I wish I had been able to just feel within myself like you're capable of making it work, even if you don't get good scores on your SATs or whatever.
Debbie, so you're new to school in the United States. How do you feel starting college and your experience so far?
Hey guys. What is the question again?
¿Cómo ha sido su experiencia en la universidad?
My experience in college is, I think, is easy for me because I learn too much English when I come here and listen to you guys all like my team worker.
Yeah.
And it helped me too much for college because I understand what teachers say all time, and
That's good.
I never lost in a day. It's good. I think it's easy for me, but we see later.
¿Usted no le ha tocado una clase todavía y como difícil?
Nah, I think.
David's ever had a hard class.
Okay, yeah, she got it, and I think it's more easy here than Colombia. I don't know. Yeah, because when I go in high school, it's easy. It's math is easy. Maybe I am new, but it's more easy than Colombia.
Interesting.
For me, UCF was really hard. Very, very, very hard. Especially when you get into your like upper 3,000 level, 4,000 level classes where you're like specializing in just one particular thing. Then it gets like, oh shit.
Well, I think what was interesting about Dennis's career is because I would like go into his class after I was done with mine because nobody knows. It's like an auditorium. It's like 400 people. But then the more advanced he gets into his career, the less. I think your last semester there was like
there were 7 people in my class.
7 people
from my last 6 classes,
and people dropped out as well. Like it got really hard.
It was so hard,
right? Which is why I want to congratulate you for pushing through and doing all of that. That's very admirable.
That's so hard.
I'm proud of you, honey.
I think Dennis looked like a competition, que era como una competencia para él, entonces para él siempre como que luchaba por ser el mejor.
I want to be the number one in class, every class.
I think something you should mention is there was a time where you went to your counselor's office.
Oh yeah.
And that shifted your entire life.
I think I had mentioned this already.
Let's see.
The podcast. Oh, I actually, just you guys didn't know, but maybe I did it or didn't say it already. Prior to us starting this podcast, I had a couple practice sessions with David. And we actually talked about it, and it's cool because I have some like recordings of me talking in Spanish with him practicing, but I'll say it anyways. So when I finished my gen eds and I had done some of my science classes, my grades weren't that great, right? And so we took a trip to the counselor, and I was talking to her about MCAT and like just informing myself because obviously no one tells you anything or when these deadlines are. And she's like, "Oh, with those grades you got, you're not going anywhere." And I was like, "Oh shit!" Like that really hurt. I felt it like in my chest, and I walked out so like discouraged. And I was like, "What do you mean I'm not gonna go anywhere?"
He was mad. You were mad. Like I saw furiousness in your eyes. She was like, she told me I wasn't gonna amount to anything. I'm gonna prove her.
It was so bad. And then,
that shifted everything. You really went from like kind of not caring in college, kind of like cruising.
But it kind of makes me rethink things because did I get my degree out of pure spite for someone? Like, was I really that angry that I got A's in every class after that moment because I was so angry?
But you were, right? I don't know.
And I never met her again.
I don't know if that's the reason, but it motivated you. It put fire under your ass that you were like, I'm going to prove that I'm going to succeed no matter what.
Can we talk about like memories of college?
Yeah, definitely.
So Chem 1 was really easy. Bio 1 was really easy. These are classes where like, you know, if you're cut out for science. Like
and in the business world, it's the same way. Economy, there's quantitative business tools, and I was not cut out.
There are classes that are hurdles, right? And like if you fuck up in that class, you know you're not cut out for the future ones because that is the funnel that like separates the people. And so I remember walking out of Chem 1 and there was this girl, right? She was blonde. She had like this UCF sweater outside of class. Crying. And she's on the phone with her mom and she's like, "Mom, I don't know if I'm cut out for this. I got a 32 out of 100. Mom, it's the first exam. I don't."
That's so devastating.
And
imagine how you feel like that's too much.
There's so many stories of students taking Adderall who don't need it, who don't have ADHD, just to pass classes and still fail. That I had in my classes. People break out into panic attacks from classes. It's not good stuff too. Like it's a lot of pressure.
It is. That's why I'm saying.
The teachers aren't always the nicest. I have to be very like upfront with that.
No, 100%. That's why I'm saying I wish I hadn't been so hard on myself.
I think when you go into college, you need to be a hard ass. You need to be independent. You need to be strong, I feel. And it's hard because when you go to college, you're still a kid and you still make bad decisions. You still don't know how to like defend yourself or whatever. Because not all teachers know what's best for you always. Not every teacher is like the best, right? That's why rate your professor is like a thing. It literally exists because there's bad teachers out there. And sometimes, your teacher will affect your grade or if you learn. Some teachers are really bad at what they do.
We're really lucky though that we don't have debt from college.
Oh my God. Do not get into debt. Please don't do it.
What do you mean?
Like
what does that mean?
Deuda. De universidad.
Oh, you're telling them not to.
Yeah, I'm telling them.
I thought you were saying for us.
Try your best to avoid getting into debt.
Yeah, if you can get scholarships, if you can get, financial aid, like honestly, because we know a lot of people who, get married and they're well over $400,000 in debt.
500,000.
Like that's
the worst
hard.
Is getting that deep into debt and not having a job within the field that you thought you're going to get.
It can be really stressful. Yeah.
And that goes along with the whole research of like pay. Like you have to research, if I'm going to be a doctor, how much does it cost me? How much am I going to make within the first 6-7 years of being a doctor? And how long will it take for me to pay my debt? One of my cousins, her husband, he works in the ER and he's still in debt. And he's been doing that for like 15 years. Right. And I mean, like, as a financial advisor, if I were to advise him, like, don't pay it all off. Just like, there's no point. Like, just pay minimum and like, you'll take that shit to your grave. Like, you're going to end up paying that forever for your whole life.
God, honey.
It's terrible. Our system is bad. It's broken.
Can we throw in? I feel like after we gotta up this up. Like, give them
energize yourself. You're hugging a pillow. Like,
because like I'm going back to how I felt in college.
Tell me about some experiences.
Some experiences in college.
Yeah, and then I'll throw out more and then we can...
Sure.
Yeah.
One of the best experiences for me was I joined the professional selling program. It was amazing. I went from a really big class, over 300 students, to this was a 25 kid adult class, if that makes sense, right? So there was an interview process. And basically, again, you got to be mentored by Fortune 500 companies. You would have to wear a suit to class. It was like up my alley.
Professional.
Yeah. And the class was different. We would talk and we would just like discuss life things like articles and books. And it was very enriching.
That's
it was
so not up my alley. It's so different.
Yeah.
It's crazy because you and I went to the same school and had completely different experiences. Yeah. And that's why it's like, yeah, you can go into science, but there's also clubs and there's also these things. And then you can get so much out of school. Even now, like as alumni or whatever who graduated or someone who went there, like you could literally go back and probably like partake in things there.
But I learned so much from that class. I specifically remember the first time I had to get interviewed because you needed to get accepted into this. My interview started the moment I stepped into the door. And I didn't know this until after. So think about this. There's a gatekeeper, which is another student. He's pretending like he's just there. Like, hey, who are you? Oh, I'm Natalie. I'm just waiting. Oh, okay, cool. And he's already observing you, but he's pretending he's not. He's on the computer. And what he wanted after what we found out is to see if the person who's being interviewed, if they treat that person weird or, you know what I mean? Like, because they're kind of like a gatekeeper. A lot of people tend to dismiss
secretaries and people at the front. Yes.
But I was very kind. I was like, hey, how are you? Oh, good. Oh, what's your name? Blah, blah, blah. Like that type of thing. And that was the first interview. But I didn't know that was my first interview. Actually, it's once I got inside. That was the second one. So I learned, oh my God, sorry. I learned a lot about just like how to present yourself and stuff like that.
And that was a memorable moment for you.
Duh. I was like, shit. That like, yeah. No, I learned so much about myself in there.
I remember I had this one exam that was coming up and I was sitting on there's this like little room where we would all study prior to walking into like the lab and doing the exams. And you texted me and you're like, oh, we got our first YouTube check.
I don't remember that.
I remember that. And I can't imagine. Like, it's weird. We weren't married yet, but I felt relief. I don't know how to explain it to you.
Really?
Because, like,
you felt like it was all going to be on your shoulders at first, right?
Yes, I felt that a lot, but at the same time, I hated that. This is the perspective. This is the perspective. If you're poor and you haven't really had a good life, a lot of your chips, as in like gambling, is in school. Like, this will take me to where I need to be. This will help me rise above. If you've always been successful in life and your parents are really rich, you kind of go to school because, like, not because it's your way to get out of something. I don't know how to explain that to you, but for me, school was like that. This is my ticket to success. This is my thing to, a better life.
Yeah, no, I understand.
By feeling, and that was the first time. And then what's funny is, like, every time I would go to that class, it was around the time that the checks would come in from YouTube. And I would feel the stress on my shoulders kind of ease away. It was weird. And school wasn't becoming my main thing anymore. It was weird. YouTube was too, because I started doing the videos with you. And the exams and all these things, I went at it with less stress. It's weird. But I don't want to say that it was just because I was making more money, but it really was. I had this B
but
now.
To be honest, if that's how you felt.
I had like this A was school, my plan A.
Yeah.
And I had a plan B for the first time.
Right. You had to follow.
Ever.
Yeah.
Because my A was my only route, So
for me, it was opposite, actually.
Yeah.
I was like, well, I guess my A route, I didn't have a B. I was like, I'm not doing school. I was like, this has to work out.
So YouTube was your A and your B and your C.
No,
it was everything.
I never believe in
But
Bs.
it's good when you just have one plan because you need to do it.
Exactly. Yeah. So that was...
Se concentra tanto en eso que lo tiene que lograr.
So for me, it was that. It was like, I'm not going to give myself a B, a C, because I need to succeed in this. Why? Because deep down, I was like, I don't know what else I would do. Like, I love this so much that I will always do my best in it, right? Which is why putting the curtain down a little bit, it makes me sad that I don't love YouTube as much, right? That's why I'm not doing very good in it, because my heart's not in it. Yeah. I want to do product. That's where my heart is in. If I could spend all day doing that, I would. But now it's kind of like the same thing with school. It's like you're only one person. You got to do one or the other, right? And I want to give my focus to product right now. Yeah.
So YouTube for you right now is school.
Yeah.
Is the main thing, and you're not very happy with it.
Yeah, because I think I've challenged myself enough. I've been doing this for almost 9 years. It's like, what else? I'm ready to move into something that challenges me. I always need a challenge. YouTube was a challenge for me. It's like, how the hell am I going to start making money online?
See, that's interesting because, like, the whole plan A, plan B thing, right? For me, having only a plan A, which was school, was too stressful. Because I started getting all the good grades or whatever because of the counselor, but then I was also so focused on the grades, I couldn't see further. Like, was I going to become a doctor? Right. I was too focused in the present, in that particular class, in that exam that I was going to go into. I wasn't thinking about, like, am I going to be a registered nurse? Am I going to be a doctor? Am I going to be an anesthesiologist? I was I've always been too present.
Oh,
that's my issue. I think sometimes this is like a little therapy session. I'm always in the here and the now.
I agree with you.
And you're always in the, like, 3-4 months.
I'm a hawk. I'm an eagle, and I see everything.
And I'm a worm. I'm in the dirt. I'm like this.
You're seeing things less close. But you know what? They're both important. They really are.
Yeah, because you eat me. You need me to survive.
Sure. No, but you see the big picture, and then you stay in the moment like a little... I want to know how much time we've been doing the podcast, just to kind of like check in.
45.
Okay. I think we should kind of wrap up a little bit and talk about just like some questions that we have for them. So for example, I'm curious with the whole live thing, if they would be interested in live and all of that stuff.
Yeah.
Do you want to touch on that?
So guys, we're planning on doing pure live podcasts in July. We're aiming for July That's the big thing that I've wanted for a long time. And so we would have like the, chat feed on the side. You guys would be commenting on how we'd have our computers and we'd literally have a conversation with you every week.
Every Friday.
We're also thinking of bi-weekly lives as opposed to like every week. So that's also a possibility. But, comment below if you guys would enjoy live. It's not something a lot of people do on YouTube. Podcasts tend to be pre-recorded and live is a completely different beast. It's a completely different thing.
It honestly would make me kind of nervous.
And then at the same time, that's why I've wanted us to do these podcasts like this pre-recorded. I don't edit anything out of this unless it's like a technical issue. But for me, this is practice with you.
Yeah, exactly.
Have you enjoyed it though? I've enjoyed it.
I've enjoyed this so much. I love this. Like literally I come here and it's super fun for me. It feels like a little safe haven. I can't wait though to get all of this. Can you go into the wide? Yes. Okay. We're actually redesigning this set, right? Yeah. So first of all, these pegboards were a bitch to get up. I actually really enjoy them. I don't want to remove them. This is the new design, you guys. David?
He's scratching his eye.
Do you want to
put that camera over there?
This camera. You can see
there
anything.
You go. No, there you go. You kind of see it. No, there. So that's the new set.
We're thinking couches. About it, yeah. And I don't know, because I think we need a little bit more of a professional
These couches are too big. And at some point, we're planning on having guests. And we need a little bit more space.
So let us know who you would like us to have on the podcast. I do feel like we kind of just whipped this together. We literally sat and we're like, you want to start a podcast again? Because that was one of the questions. In the next episode, we're going to be diving into things that you guys have been asking us. And we literally, like, this was kind of a whim of the moment. Don't you feel? Like we didn't really think about it. We were just like, let's just fucking do it.
I was really excited for it and I went full on into this.
Yeah. No, for sure. And I did too.
Yeah.
But we didn't really think about everything.
It was more about just getting our voices out there and that's it.
Let's just start. So that's what we did. And now we're excited to redesign. But anyways, as you want to just kind of like wrap up?
Yeah. So I guess that's it. It's a 45-minute episode. Thanks for watching. Be sure to rate us on Spotify and Apple Podcasts. Also subscribe if you're watching us on YouTube. Be sure to leave us a comment telling us what you enjoyed and also what you think about the set design for the future.
And thank you so much for being one of the first people here. Like, seriously, I think that we are just going to continue to improve and we love the feedback and we just want to hear more from you. So,
by the way, the comments are really great. It seems to be the same specific people that keep commenting. And that's really, really good because it's like, getting you guys to be in the conversation and we really enjoy it.
Yeah. So thanks for tuning in. And that's it.
Peace out. A-Town. Bye.